You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Young and the Restless fans. So we know Billy Abbott's got a secret partner in his vendetta, and we gotta wonder, is it Tucker McCall working with him? It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and let's get into why Billy would consider working with Tucker and why revenge on Victor would interest Tucker. If you're not following us, please subscribe. And now let's dive into it. Just to be clear, right off the bat, Billy and Tucker are not friends. They're not golf buddies. They're not pals. Far from it. And that's one thing that would make this alliance a big twist and something that could fly under the radar if it is what's happening. Not only would Victor Newman not expect them to work together, but really neither would anybody else. Billy wants to target Chancellor as part of his revenge plan on Victor, and he thinks undermining Nikki and her new company that she just got will do that. Plus, Billy would still like to get Chancellor out of Newman's hands, and we know Tucker would like that as well. Chancellor Industries is not just Billy's legacy, but to some extent also Tucker's, if you think about it. You know, his mom, Catherine Chancellor, saw it as her pride and joy, and he tried to get his hands on Chancellor when he first came back to Y&R when they recast the role from Stephen Nichols over to Trevor St. But Tucker's ongoing issues with Jill, you know, that's a problem for Billy, as is the way he treated Ashley Abbott in the past, Billy's aunt. You know, I'm sorry, not his aunt, his sister. My brain today. Although, to be fair, you know, Tucker was also the one telling Ashley's family that something was wrong with her and they needed to check in on her before her DID diagnosis happened. But years back, let's be real, Tucker was terrible to Ashley and deserved most of the scorn she gave him. And Tucker and Billy have been on opposite sides of many infights and squabbles over the years at Chancellor, at Newman Enterprises, when it was overrun by outsiders and they were involved in that, and also within the Abbott family themselves. And their mutual animosity actually makes this a perfect partnership. All we know right now is that Billy is talking to someone who has a contact or more than one contact within Chancellor that can get them info about what Nikki is doing. And that Tucker, you know, has been around Chancellor on and off for decades. So it would make sense that he might know somebody that's been there forever. Like he might just have a long-standing ally, an old friend. And bear in mind, Billy is hiding this vendetta from both Phyllis Summers and Sally Spectra. And already Phyllis and Daniel said they didn't want to join his, you know, Abbott.com project if it was just going to be about revenge. But Billy insisted it wasn't. And technically, he might have been telling the truth. Maybe him chasing revenge on Victor is just going to be his hobby, you know, his after hours project rather than something he does using the new media company he's starting. So it can be his side hustle, you know, and therefore he's not lying. And Phyllis just had a dream where Billy told her he still wanted revenge on Victor, and she said, okay, I'll help. So maybe she will. Even so, even without her, you know, Billy's got his own thing going. He waited till Sally fell asleep in Paris, and then he crept away to make that sneaky phone call. So it could be somebody else, you know, admittedly, like say Lily Winters. But I think it feels like she's moved on from her interest in Chancellor, even though she's still salty about it. We know it's not Phyllis. Of course, it's not Jack. And I don't think Diane Jenkins would have the contacts at Chancellor, even though she would love to see Victor burned down. And also, they've been name dropping Tucker a lot out of nowhere. It was June 2024 when Trevor St. exited Young and the Restless. And, you know, a lot of fans liked him. I really enjoyed his energy, how he was, you know, always fiddling around with the props and just being weird. He just played around with his posture, putting his feet on things, just weird stuff. Like he would sniff pieces of Zuleyka Silver's hair, the actress who plays Audra. He was just always doing stuff. And I liked him as Tucker. I love Stephen Nichols, but I also like Trevor St. So I was already thinking about Billy and Tucker as potential allies And then we saw Audra and Holden Novak talking about Tucker. If you're not current on your Y&R episodes, Holden said he did something in the past to help Audra out of a jam with her boss Tucker in LA. They could have invented plenty of scenarios for Holden to know Audra that didn't involve another character on the soap, but they chose Tucker. So maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe it's an Easter egg that he's returning. So let's talk about why and how Billy might have convinced Tucker to throw in with him. First of all, Tucker's got time on his hands. He's got no company to run, no job to worry about. He's got money, sure, but, no career to speak of, no girlfriend since Ashley and Audra are done with him, no kid, no grandkid. He's not allowed around Devon and Dominic. So yeah, Billy might have said, hey, you bored? Come on, let's mess with Victor. Second thing, Tucker was excited to run Glissade with Ashley at first, but then she turned on him, and then he wound up running it with Audra, who then turned on him. But it was Victor who was behind Audra's betrayal of Tucker. He authored that because Victor backed Audra to buy Glissade out from under Tucker. So of course he might want a little payback on that matter. And in the end, Victor hurt Audra too, chucked her out the door in favor of Kyle. And Tucker did care about Audra. He did actually love her in his own weird way, I think. So he might also want payback on her behalf. And the third thing, another person that Victor hurt in his plan to get Chancellor was Lily, who is near and dear to Devon Hamilton's heart, Tucker's son. So I could see Billy working that in and saying something like, if you make Victor pay for what he did to Lily, that might get you back into Devon's good graces, because right now Tucker doesn't have an in there. And of course, just bottom line, Tucker doesn't like Victor. Even without these recent Chancellor events and Glissade events, and I am certain Tucker doesn't want Victor running his mom's company, even if she did leave it to Victor. And as a matter of fact, that might be one more reason Tucker doesn't want him to have it, because Kay gave it to him. And as of now, Trevor St. John has no new projects on his IMDb page that shows anything that would conflict with a possible return. And whatever it is that Holden and Audra did that had to do with Tucker could be ripe for a front burner storyline. So Billy conspiring with Tucker might be just one of two reasons to bring him back. The Holden and Audra thing, and then conspiring with Billy. And, maybe Holden's presence in town will be a red flag to Tucker, and he wants to come and find out more about what he and Audra pulled years ago, or wants some payback. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't know about you, but I love the idea of Tucker coming back to Y&R, especially since, let's face it, you got to respect, love, and fear Victor, but he really, really deserves a comeuppance. He is wildly out of control with his debauchery nonsense. He needs to be written a reality check, and Tucker and Billy blindsiding him would be epic.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.